Sometimes you just gotta go bar down.
Krull, top titty 2x4 to end the game. That was nice.
Bardown Beauties.
That's the sexy part of the game, is it not? The plays and the goals and the...
Yeah, that's what you guys like. I mean, it is great.
And now, a new episode of Bardown Beauties with Jessi Pierce and Kirsten Krull. In need of custom merch, SotaStick has you covered. That's right. Whether it's jerseys, tees, hats, you can go to SotaStick.com with your need for custom merch and they can get it done. Hey, and while you're there, you might as well peruse, shop. They've got fleece, they've got hoodies, they've got mugs, they've got socks, and of course, your favorite tees and hats, all custom by SotaStick. They're our favorite here at Bardown Beauties. They're the Minnesota Wild's favorite with their collabs. You've got P-Dub collabs, you've got Dinkytown collabs, basically anything you need or want here to represent your state, your sports, SotaStick has. Don't forget to smash Bardown Beauties at checkout for 15% off all purchases at SotaStick.com. Hello, everybody. What's up? Another episode of Bardown Beauties coming at you. Jessi Pierce, Kirsten Krull, thanks for tuning in. Kirsten, how was the weekend, first of all? I felt like it was the first real summer weekend. I don't know if you felt that way. Maybe it's because my kids are out of school now, thus begin summer, but it felt like a good summertime full of activity.
I feel like for me, summer felt like the weekend before Memorial Weekend was like really when it started. I don't know, this dreary weather, I'm over it. And that's not helping. Like right now it feels like October.
Yeah.
And not feeling it, but it was a great weekend. Went out to the Twins game, hung out with friends.
Love.
Yeah, just as the off season should be.
That's exactly how it should be, because it's only going to be a couple weeks, because I feel like we're going to be back into hockey mode in July with Beauty League coming through. You got free agency, all of that stuff. Hockey's still obviously happening. We've got the Stanley Cup. We'll get into that, but it was the NHL Combine, Kirsten, and I know neither you or I are super all in on prospects as much as we should be. I'll dabble here and there, and you do as well with your other endeavors. But the one thing that always gets me about the Combine, yes, it's kind of funny to find out who can do a pull-up and who can't. Like, I shouldn't be judging these 18-year-olds that can't do pull-ups either. But I also love that the teams ask those very unhinged questions. I found a few that came through that I thought we should take turns asking and answering. So the Montreal Canadiens, they always go with the classic weird, what animal would you be? So what animal would you be, Kirsten?
I'm torn. I had an obsession with tigers when I was younger. So I would say a saber-toothed tiger because I've got a little bite to me as well. Okay. The other one is very more so unhinged, spider monkey.
You come at someone like a spider monkey.
I just think they're so cute.
That's also true.
And you never know their next move.
I always kind of want to say a narwhal because people think that they're not real, but they're real. And they're just kind of crazy little animals that break things with their horns. You know what a narwhal is?
Yeah, it has the horn.
It has the horn, yeah.
And it swims.
However, I'm a very bad swimmer. Like you, I was very into like big cats as a kid. Maybe it's the Lisa Frank era in me, but I would say I'm like a jaguar or a panther. Not to be confused with a cougar.
Oh, good God. Yeah, I like my saber-toothed tiger.
I like saber-tooth. That's good. The really weird one that the Canadiens asked prospects this year was, if you were stranded in a desert with someone with only one bottle of water and a baseball bat, and you can't share the water, and the other person takes the water, what do you do with the bat?
I mean, it's survival of the fittest. I definitely hit them with the bat, and then I take back my water. You take my water, I'm going to die. It's every man for themselves.
I think I'm hitting the water out of their hands versus trying to injure them.
But then you spill the water on the ground.
It's a bottle, though. I'm assuming the top is on the bottle. I guess these are important questions to be asking.
Yeah,
is it a plastic bat or is it a metal bat? Like,
what if you hit the water bottle so hard it still breaks open and gets everywhere?
I'm trying to avoid injury. However, if you don't injure them, I feel like they're just going to keep coming for your water too, right?
Exactly.
Aggressive. The Ottawa Senators simply asked prospects to tell a joke. So, Kirsten, go ahead and tell me your best joke.
I was going to say my life. And you laughed, so there's my joke.
I'll pull in the kid. My oldest has one that I always think is very funny. He goes, do you want to hear a construction joke?
Yes.
I'm still working on it.
That is good.
That's a good one. The New York Rangers asked prospects, how would you describe the color blue?
It's bright, calming.
Mhm.
Reminds me of the ocean. I don't know. That's how I would describe it.
I go calming. Like, I think calming is like my number one attribute because I do think of like water. I think one prospect had said, just look up at the sky. And that was his answer, which seems fair.
Yeah.
The Utah Mammoth wanted to know your Uber rating and your Snapchat score.
Both are very important, I think, as far as a team
Okay.
goes.
Okay.
How you are around other people when you don't think that they're watching or keeping score, or just how often you're constantly on your phone.
That too. I don't understand Snapchat score. You have to
I
explain
do.
that
It's
one.
anytime you open and send a snap.
Okay. And
Like
receive
you
or
get
not?
a point each time.
Interesting. And people like, is it good to have a high score, or does that suggest that you're snapping too many people?
It suggests that you're snapping too many people.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't have an Uber rating. I have a Lyft rating. I think I'm like a 4.7.
I think I'm like a 4.7, 4.8.
Yeah, very rarely have I been naughty in my shared ride apps. Some teams unknown. Would you take a $10 bill on the toilet seat or a $50 bill that's in the toilet?
$50 in the toilet.
Yeah.
Like I would just wash the bill in my hands.
Now, obviously, this is assuming that there is nothing else in the toilet, correct? Like, we're not risking it all for the $50.
I mean, if you had like utensils and gloves and there's $50.
You're going in there no matter what?
If I don't have to touch it, if I'm just going in, there's a way you could do it without ever touching it.
I guess. All right. Maybe I just take the
I'm willing to
$10
make
off.
$40 off of it. So toilet seat is just as dirty. Yuck.
I mean, that's true. Would you rather be better than everyone else or be the best?
Well, if you are the best, you are better than everybody else.
Right? But I feel like it leads to like your thought process. Because if you say I'm better than everybody else, that has like that conceited kind of like, I think I'm better than everyone versus saying I'm the best is more of like a Gretzky or a McDavid, right?
I mean, yeah, I don't know why anyone would not choose being the best.
We're going to be the best. We are the best. That's just how that works. Some fun questions again. Shout out to everybody that had shared those over the weekend. The combine didn't pay a whole lot of attention. I don't know that there's been a lot of changes that you're finding out about different players. This draft class, Kirsten, in general, I'm not super excited about. And again, maybe it's because the Wild don't have that first round. Obviously, they could potentially still work their way back in there, but we'll see. That being said, though, what I do love, and we're seeing it for the past 5 years at least, the amount of college hockey players getting love and exposure in that first round and in the rankings and all of that. You work with the Hobie Baker, so you get to talk to these guys. You've spoken with Macklin Celebrini. You've spoken with Adam Fantilli. Just how cool is it to see that college hockey has really become the new pathway into the NHL? I've got numbers that I'll break down, but just from your perspective and seeing the guys that have come through the college ranks lately, how cool is that?
I mean, it's super cool. Even going back to my time at St. Cloud State, guys I went to school with got to cover on the St. Cloud team in the years that I was there. Even seeing them get drafted or go on playing in the NHL, it's super cool. And I don't know, college hockey, I think, as the landscape kind of changes and NCAA rules change too, to where now Canadian juniors can also be recruited. That's only going to continue, I think, to get more and more you're going to see in the college landscape.
I was going to say, like, we already saw the Canadians start to come down, like we said, Celebrini, Fantilli, because for the longest time, NCAA just felt it was very the American thing to do, right? You have your major juniors, you've got all of those. But now that the CHL, you've seen some big names leave the CHL. What do you think college hockey's offering that CHL isn't? Is it because the NIL money is now a part of that too? Or what do you think the main difference could be?
I mean, I think NIL plays a huge factor for sure. I don't know. I think there's something intriguing about coming and playing college hockey. You're playing against, I didn't want to say men. That was a little aggressive because when you think of NHL, I think of men, but you're thinking of like bigger, more gritty guys, I feel, in college hockey. And then you just kind of look at the history surrounding a lot of the schools. I think there's a lot of allure just to going to college in general, and kind of just building that community and the fan base. Because especially too, depending on where you choose to go for college hockey. And granted, I don't know the atmosphere of a lot of like major juniors up in Canada too, but I feel like it comes a lot closer, again, depending the school, to pro hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved it because I do love the fact that you can get an education, should that be your path. Now, yes, if you're going to go into the NHL, it's probably very rare that you're going to go back and finish the degree anyway, or stay all 4 years or whatnot. But I've always had this love and affection for college hockey. I've talked about it time and time again. But yeah, you've got Cale Makar and Jack Eichel and Brock Faber, Cole Caulfield, Owen Power, all of those guys. A couple years ago, there were 349 college hockey players in the NHL. That was a couple seasons ago. I think this past season, you had 200 or so that had NHL rights. And I think it's such a cool trend to see. And I have a love-hate. Now, the only problem I have with the CHL, obviously, allowing for NCAA play is that's taking away a lot of opportunities for our players here in the States.
Yeah. You said something really smart, but Bodie barked really loud and then ran into my cord and moved my entire computer. So.
I caught it. I just went on. But it was smart. That's very nice. That's very good.
Yeah, the garbage man's outside, so there's more exciting things, I guess, for him happening out there than in here.
Bode doesn't care what I have to say about college hockey. He just
not in the slightest.
Not a little bit. Some fun facts from our friends at College Hockey Inc. about the NHL and college hockey. 1 in 3 NHL players played college hockey last year. Connor Hellebuyck, obviously. Another big name, Quinn Hughes. In the 2023 NHL draft, there were 9 first-round picks and 237 draft picks playing in college hockey. They have a graduation rate of 93% at the Division I college hockey level. And at least 65% of NCAA alumni played at least 3 seasons on campus. Jake Gensel, Chris Kreider, also other players. I love it. Shout out to college hockey. Shout out to more of it. I think you're right. I think you're playing against men because a lot of times in college, you have those guys that go play juniors before they get the opportunity to go D1, right? Like,
yeah. So it's a little bit of an older crowd,
which you need. I mean, I think it's very rare to, again, be that 18-year-old and just jump into the NHL. You still need all of this time. And I think college hockey allows for better patience. I mean, you're playing still a smaller schedule. I think that's where that competition between juniors and college is probably different because I feel like college hockey's schedule is lighter than junior hockey, right?
It is. Yeah. There's probably, if we're talking about junior hockey, I don't know if it's like I think 80 games sounds like a lot. I think depending the league, 60-ish games sounds more
compared to
accurate.
like 30 to 40 for college.
Yeah, correct. I think more towards 30 though for college.
Yeah.
Depending too, making the postseason, but I think it's closer to 30 games in college because then you're only playing on the weekend.
Right. And it's those weekend series and whatnot. Plus, you got to account for, too, like, I do love the growth that college hockey is taking the steps and adding the Division I programs, too. So there's something to be said about that. Like I mentioned, we're kind of in this weird prospect mode situation, the draft coming up at the end of the month. But I wanted to ask you, Kirsten, after I have a quick coughing fit. Excuse me. This has been going on for like a week, and it's summertime, and that's because of the dreary weather. It's terrible. Biggest busts in Minnesota Wild draft history. We've talked a lot about Marco Rossi, who is not a bust. I'm not suggesting that, but I just thought it'd be a funny addendum to our conversation. Who do you think was the biggest draft bust from the Minnesota Wild?
I'm trying to now jog my memory and go back in time to figuring out. I'm doing mental gymnastics right now to even figure out previous draft year selections.
Okay, how about this? I'm going to help you out. I'm going to go through the first round picks that they have had.
Okay.
In 2000, it was Marian Gaborik, 3rd overall.
Not a bust.
2001, Mikko Koivu, 6th overall.
Not a bust.
2002, Pierre-Marc Bouchard, 8th overall.
Not a bust.
2003, Brent Burns, 20th overall.
Not a bust.
Not a bust. 2004, AJ Thielen, 12th overall.
I'm not
Huge
familiar.
bust. Yeah,
I'm
yes,
not a-
because
I'm
you're
not
not familiar because he's never played a game in the NHL. Big bust. 2005, Benoit Pouillet at number 4. 2006, James Shepard, number 9, my personal favorite, who is also a very large bust. I mean, he ended up with almost 400 games in the NHL, but didn't do anything worthy of a number 9 overall. 2007, at 16, Colton Gillies.
I like that name.
Yeah, I think he spent a lot of time in the minors. 2008, Tyler Kuma at number 23. He only played 1 game in the NHL.
Another cool last
2009,
name.
Nick Leddy at 16. Obviously, ton of hockey, but none with the Minnesota Wild. 2010, Mikhail Granlund, 9th overall. 2011, Jonas Brodin, 10th overall.
Not a bust.
2012, Matt Dumba, 7th overall. 2014, Alex Tuck, 18th overall. 2015, Joel Erikssonek, 20th.
Not a bust.
2016, Luke Cunnin, 15th overall. I forgot that Luke Cunnin was a first rounder.
Hmm.
I find that interesting. I wouldn't say he's a bust.
No.
This one I would say is a bust. 2018, 24th overall, Philip Johansson, another Swedish defenseman that did not play at all in the National Hockey League. 2019, 12th overall. Who do you think it is?
Wait, what year are we in again?
2019.
2019, Matt Boldy?
Matt Boldy, not a bust. 2020, 9th overall.
I don't remember.
Marco Rossi.
Nah. That was going to
20
be my guess. if I'm being
2021,
honest.
20th overall, Jesper Velstead. I'm curious. I want to see if you know these ones. I wouldn't have remembered this one, but after that, I think, because I covered all these ones, right? 2021, 26th overall. He's a defenseman. Has not played for the Wild. Has been down in Iowa, though.
2021?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember.
Carson Lambos. 2022, 19th overall. Has played with Minnesota and is projected to potentially make the roster this year.
Height?
No, I like that pick, though. Liam Ogren. Also in 2022, because they had 2 first rounders, this one went 24th overall. The Russian forward that's coming over here.
Yurov. Danelia.
2023, probable bust, playing college hockey right now. 21st overall. Made no sense. Stramel.
I don't think he's a bust.
You don't think he's a bust?
He had a much better year once he transferred.
He did. I don't think he's a first rounder. I think you could have easily gotten him later in the draft.
Well, when you look at who you passed up, yes. Wasn't it Gabe Perreault?
We'll go back.
I'm pretty sure it was Gabe Perreault that they passed over to draft Stramel.
You're probably right. All right. So, yes.
Picked up by the Rangers instead.
You're right. The rest of the players beneath him are not of note. But, yeah, you're absolutely right. So, there's that. And finally, last year, the 12th overall pick by the Minnesota Wild.
Zeev.
William.
Biggest bust if you've never played a game in the NHL and you were a first rounder. That's tough.
AJ
There's 2 of
Thelen,
those.
For sure holds that. I mean, 12 is pretty high. James Shepard, again, I loved him. I know he was not very well liked here. He didn't do a heck of a whole lot. He just had the hockey look for me, and that was when I was a senior in high school, so I was like all in on that. But yeah, I mean, there are teams that have done far worse than the Minnesota Wild as far as protecting busts. I mean, there's 4 out of that list? I don't think that's too bad.
No, that's not too bad. And then you talk about a lot of the talent that's still relevant on that list as well.
Yeah, like they had a nice little run there with Granlund and Broads and Dumbs and Ecker. That little core 4, if you will. That being said, though, Kirsten, and again, we can dive more into NHL draft prospects and picks heading down closer to the entry draft. But we're watching one of what I think is one of the greatest Stanley Cup finals I've ever seen. Excuse me. We're only 2 games in, but how much fun have these 2 games been?
A lot of fun. You push overtime, the physicality that's been brought into. I think And I'm trying not to get super specific because I don't remember if it was game 1 or game 2, but I know it was a big point of contention. The physicality, how everyone thinks Florida's a tougher team, but Edmonton really put the focus on becoming stronger and grittier during the offseason after losing the cup final last year. And yeah, it was like 51 hits to 51 the other night. So very evenly matched physically. I think it's probably the tightest Stanley Cup final we've seen in a while.
Yeah, it's like you said, 2 overtime, just fun hockey too. Like the first periods, we're getting 5 goals from the combined teams, right? And you're seeing Brad Marchand prove that he is a winner, and for him to get picked up, it's been really, really fun to watch because the teams are different but similar in a sense too, right? And it's not to say that the goaltenders are not doing the right thing. I think Stuart Skinner's playing fine, Bob's playing fine, but it's everybody else. Like this is a series that doesn't feel it's going to be as dependent on the goalies as it is on that quick high octane offense. I need 7 games of this, which I think we're going to get, but I definitely need 7 now. Like I don't want one team either or to run away with it.
I need Edmonton to win.
No, you
Connor
need them to win.
McDavid is on just levels I've never seen from him.
See, I agree. I mean, I'm more Leon Draisaitl, right? Like you're Connor and I'm Leon. That's kind of how our MO can work, I think.
It's because Connor's so freaking weird with like some of his things, and I just love it so much.
I just can't do it. I don't like it.
I need a McDavid jersey. Like, need.
No. Do you?
I need it.
Okay, fair enough. But you need Connor to win, but do you want to see 7 games, or do you want them to go ahead and win the next, rattle off the wins? End it in 6.
My anxiety would prefer 6.
That's probably
but
fair.
Also, I don't know. I like a closer series. Game 7s are fun, but my anxiety would be a lot.
I'm on the Panthers train because Nate Schmidt is out there too. And Nate Schmidt's doing really good things, and I'm so happy for a guy like Nate Schmidt when he is just happy and lovable and looks like the cartoon character that he is.
Just a happy-go-lucky guy.
He's so happy. And he's like more like, I feel like he lost a little bit of that because there were some up and down years for him, right? Like it hasn't been the easiest, smoothest of sailing for Schmidt, who is 33 years old. But I'm so happy. Plus, you know what? If they win, the cup comes to Minnesota, and we need that.
You're big on that.
I'm big on that. I get paid. I get a story to write about, and I get to go see the Stanley Cup in Minnesota. Last year, it was taken from me. Kyle Okposo. They had the flights all went down. Do you remember that?
I do.
And which is even more sad for poor Okposo, who still got his day with the cup. All but a very different scenario. But yeah, I was just like, oh no, this is awful. Like poor Kyle Okposo, his first Stanley Cup.
What are the odds of that happening?
Like it's very rare. It's very, very rare. Before we wrap things up then too, speaking of drafts and expansions, the PWHL wrapping up their expansion to Seattle and Vancouver. As projected, Minnesota gets cleaned of 2 of their very best players, Claire Thompson and Sophie Jakes. I am shocked that neither of them were protected.
Claire Thompson doesn't surprise me because from what I have heard, she might only play 1 more year of professional hockey because she's wanting to go to med school. Don't quote me on that, but that is what I'm hearing. So if you're going to put your cards in a basket to protect a player, that's tough. You don't want to see her go. But if she's only going to play for 1 more year, I'd rather hold on to somebody that we would have longer. Sophie Jakes does really surprise me. And She also went and signed for 3 years, which is now her and another player in the P-Dub. That puts them as the longest secured players now moving forward as far as contracts go. I'm shocked, especially to being a Defender of the Year finalist. I'm shocked Sophie Jakes didn't get protected.
I think heading into it, I knew they would protect Heisey, right? And the way that Lee Steckland has played, I was like, you know what, that probably makes sense. Now, Lee's a little bit older, where Sophie obviously is that younger. And then Kendall Coyne-Schofield kind of surprised me because, again, you're choosing to protect an older player. I think Kendall would have been safe exposed, right? Like I felt like that was a little presumptuous to protect her, and then they obviously utilized the ability to protect a fourth, which is Brita Curl Salami was their fourth protected because Vancouver and Seattle swept up their players immediately. Do you like the way the PWHL did this, where you did have so many top name players exposed? You're seeing Hillary Knight now out in Seattle. Like, I think it had to be done, but also I get where it's from your own fan base. You're like, God, this sucks.
No, I absolutely hate it. I think it's bullshit not to not be family friendly, but yeah, it is. That's exactly what it is. You only allow your team to protect 3 players initially, and you have the option to protect a fourth. I think it should have at least been 6 minimum.
Sure.
I don't know. It's just following the way this has been unfolding, the expansion draft being tonight, Monday the 9th. Still a lot of talent on the table. You're allowing Seattle and Vancouver to make super teams right off the bat, very similar to Vegas. Meanwhile, like you look at a team like the New York Sirens who finished at the bottom, I don't know super closely who all they have lost thus far, but it's like they say it's to make a very competitive playing field right off the bat for Vancouver and Seattle, but you're also doing that at the expense of dismantling the other teams around the league. And you're just literally, I wouldn't be shocked so far to see Vancouver. They've had more of the big name signings thus far make it to the final next season. And I don't think that's fair at all. Like, yeah, you want to help them out, help them build their team, but the way they're doing it, I don't think is right.
That's fair. I think I'm kind of torn on it because I do think this league needs to have that uber competition, but I hadn't taken into consideration your point, Kirsten, which I think is a great one, is that you're right. You're keeping the New York Sirens down at the bottom. Like, you're just kind of continuing to bury them. I think it's a little pat on Minnesota's back to have their players get pillaged so quickly because it shows what they were able to build, the players that they did sign. I mean, even in that year 1 under Natalie Darwitz, it was incredible to see the talent that they brought in. And then Melissa Caruso did a nice job pumping that up a little bit and adding more of those players. So, I mean, it's one of those good things where it's like our team is so good, but yeah, you're right. It would have been nice to have a larger amount of players protected and just had a little bit more security. But we'll see, right? And do you know, and this might have been released and I don't know the answer, so this is a genuine question, and maybe somebody watching or listening knows the answer to it. Are they changing the format for playoffs, or is it still going to be for how many teams make the playoffs for?
I honestly, I don't have any idea. I haven't looked that far as to playoffs, and I don't know if it's even been announced yet what that playing format would be moving forward.
I mean, I kind of hope that they don't, right? And you just keep the top 4 teams out of your 8, so you still have a large amount, but I'd be curious to see if that changes at all, because then that would at least help, to your point, like not making Vancouver be this like juggernaut a little bit, maybe. Like if New York has a chance to bust in there, but who knows? That's all I got.
Yeah, I don't got anything else.
I got nothing else for you guys. Again, shout out to Talk North, Royal Credit Union, Grain Belt, and SotaStick. You guys are the best. Let us know what we should talk about next week, 'cause we're hitting that little lull. We're not going to talk about Marco Rossi.
Or we're going to go bi-weekly.
Or we're going to go bi-weekly.
So
this is so true.
Schedule changes are coming.
Yeah, just pay attention to our social medias. Like, follow, rate, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. You guys are the best. And we will catch you on the next episode. Bye.